ASMBartender. Today we have in front of us a more casual setup than usual. Usually I'm wearing a whole button down. I guess this is also a button down, but today we are going to be doing a more casual style video where instead of making cocktails, we are taste testing 4 different beers. So at our local grocery store, we have a little option where we're allowed to create our own beer flight, which is what we have before us today. We have a beer flight board, and we're going to be messing around with it for the first time, and that's what we have in front of us today, is we have a beer flight board. Just got this off Amazon. It was like $25, not very expensive. And we'll be taste testing each of the beers that we picked out from our local grocery store. So let's get started. First, I wanted to give you guys a better look at the board here. The chalk to write down what each beer is. Normally you would do this at like a bar or a restaurant where they would tell you what each beer was by writing it on the little chalkboard. So we're going to be able to do that for each beer. So I don't know why this didn't come in a box like the chalk. It really should have. It just came loose like that. So we're having a little bit of a difficult time with it. Alright, let's get started by showing what each beer is and checking them out. Okay, so the one's much pinker than the last one. The last one was very orange. This one now, this one has a lot of pink to it. Alright, so yeah, this one had a lot of pink on it compared to the last one. Now we're going to try out the IPA next. Oh, wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that. Got some 3D going on. That was a much better pour on my part. I don't know, I feel like this might be the right order to do these in. I was just kind of guessing, but I think it might be correct. I really like that each one has like a different color to it. And then finally, the stout. Not a lot to that one, it's a stout. It might throw off the flavor profiles a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Okay. There we have it. Here's our 4 beers. I guess now it's the only thing left to try is to see if we picked the right ones, if we really created a proper beer flight. Let's find out. Now that we have all 4 beers poured out, we are going to find out if we actually chose the correct beers, if we made an actual flight or not. So we're going to start with the first one, which is Shorts Brew Soft Paradise Fruit Ale. Cheers. Interesting. I think this is a good thing to start with because it's not really like crazy fruity or like sour. It's not like gonna be as sour as the sour, obviously. But it's just kind of like easy to drink. It's kind of juicy in a way, but like just not as fruity. There's not as much of a fruit taste to it as I thought there would be. I thought it'd be kind of like a gross fruit flavor, but no, it's actually pretty good. I would drink the rest of this. Alright, let's move on to the sour, which is the Sierra Nevada Wild Little Thing. I think we are moving perfectly into the sour, because this one wasn't as intense as I thought it would be. I think this was a great thing to start with, the fruit ale. Yeah, that's a great transition right there. This one just has a little bit more taste. This is not as intense as some sours that I've had before in the past. It's still got a little kick to it, but I think the fruit is a little bit more prevalent than in most sours. And also it says slightly sour ale, so that might be why it is not quite as sour as some other sours that I've had before. Okay, so coming from the sour, let's move into the IPA. I'm really curious how this will be transition-wise, since this wasn't quite as sour as most that I've had. That's really good. All of these have been pretty good so far. This one, I really like IPAs, but this one, it's not is that they're mostly